In today's video, I'm going to show you when it makes sense to draw down your 401k balance in order to increase your Social Security benefit. And spoiler alert, it's probably less often than you think. Hey everybody, I'm James Conole, and I'm here to teach you how to get the most out of life with your money. Now, when I'm talking to people about retirement and their plan with Social Security versus 401k versus other assets, one thing I hear quite a bit is my goal is to defer Social Security as long as possible to increase my benefit. Now, they're right, in a sense. Every year you delay Social Security, your benefit goes up. You can collect as early as 62 or as late as 70, and every single year, every single month in between that time period, your benefit is going up. But this is the thing. It's not the return on investment like you might expect. Here's an example of that. Let's say I'm going to give you $100 this year, and I'm going to give you $100 next year. Or I can give you $200 next year and nothing today. Which would you prefer? Well, you look at that and you say, okay, that's really not a return on investment. It's not like I'm getting a 200% return on investment by waiting until next year. It's me just condensing the time frame in which I'm going to give you those dollars. Same thing is kind of true of Social Security. It's not truly a return on investment, at least not to the full extent, because what you're doing is you're telling Social Security, instead of collecting for this many years, I'm going to be collecting for this many years. And Social Security says instead of paying you a smaller amount over this time, we're going to pay you a larger amount over that time. Now, we've all heard of that break-even age, and depending on when you're going to collect, depending on whether you're collecting really early or 67 or 70, you are going to break even likely somewhere around age 81 or 82. Meaning, if you live until age 81 or 82, what you're getting is you're getting that same example of $100 today and $100 next year versus $200 all next year. It's really not a return on investment. It's just deferring and taking more dollars in the future, but your total benefit's about the same. Now, any time that you live past 81, now you're starting to get an actual return on your investment. So when we're looking at this, I want to make that point because here's something I don't hear people say. I don't often hear people say, I'm going to wait as long as possible to draw my 401k so I can increase my benefit. In fact, it's often the reverse. I'll ask people, when do you plan to collect Social Security? Let's say maybe age 70. When are you going to retire? Oh, 62. Well, what are you going to do for income between 62 and 70? Well, I'm going to draw down my 401k. Now, here's the thing. Yes, you're increasing your Social Security benefit, but rarely do I hear people say, my goal is to collect Social Security early to increase my 401k benefit. These are both two things that you really need to consider. And by the way, 401k could be IRA, it could be 403b, it could be any investment that you have. But the question is, which of these are we going to take first in order to optimize the other, in order to increase the other? Because we intrinsically recognize that the longer we wait to collect Social Security, the more we're increasing that benefit. But not so often, or very rarely, are people saying the same thing about their 401k. I rarely hear people say, I'm going to defer taking my 401k for as long as possible, because the longer I wait, the more it grows, the more it grows, the more income it can generate. Now, the reason for this is very simple. And the reason is that growth on the 401k is not guaranteed, whereas the growth on your Social Security is. I know that every single year after my full retirement age, as I delay Social Security, I'm getting an 8% increase in my benefit. Again, it's not a true rate of return because it just means I'm foregoing some benefits today to get more in the future, but it's something that we can count on. It's a benefit we know is going to exist. Well, with our 401k, there's no guarantee of that doing anything. That could go up in value 20%, it could go down in value 20%, it could be all over the place. So that's why most people think of Social Security and maximizing their benefit by delaying, and fewer people think the same way with regards to their 401k. Now, everyone's plan is unique, and everyone should have a very specific strategy for what makes sense for their Social Security, for their 401k, for their other assets. But here's a potential benefit that most people don't realize. If you start taking your Social Security early, that's less money that you're taking from your 401k. So that means your 401k can keep growing. Now, people say your 401k can also decline. Well, to me, all the more reason it might make sense, depending on the situation, to actually collect Social Security early. And let's look at an example. Let's assume that you retire at age 62, and you can collect $2,000 per month in Social Security at age 62, or you can collect $3,000 per month at age 70. Both those numbers, of course, will be adjusted for inflation, but today that's your option. And let's assume that you want to live on $5,000 per month. Well, if you delay your Social Security until 70, that full $5,000 per month today is coming from your 401k. If your only income sources are Social Security and then income from your 401k, that's a lot of pressure on your 401k. And if we're in the middle of a year like this, where the markets are down 20+%, not only are you taking more from your 401k, but you're taking more from depressed asset levels. So that's putting a whole lot of pressure on your portfolio today. Yes, it's maximizing your Social Security benefit, but we have to ask, what's the opportunity cost? What's it costing us in future income from our 401k by taking more from there today? Now, the alternative, what if you were instead to retire at 62 and collect at 62? Again, not a recommendation, but just illustrating a point here. Well, if you still want to live on $5,000 per month, and now $2,000 per month of that is coming from your 401k, or $2,000 I should say is coming from Social Security, that just leaves $3,000 that needs to come from your 401k. So that's about $24,000 fewer dollars per year that you're drawing down from your 401k. All the more so if we're in a falling market where you want to preserve as much of that 401k value as possible. And yes, your Social Security benefit is going to be lower and you're locking that in forever. But what people don't account for is what's the positive impact on your 401k? What's the positive impact on your investments that no, you're not adding money to them, but by taking less out, you're allowing for that balance to continue growing so that at 65, 67, 70 and beyond, that portfolio balance is larger, which means it can generate more income. So this is something most people don't take into account. There's often this sense of, I'm going to draw down my 401k to increase my Social Security, but rarely do people talk about drawing their Social Security first to increase their 401k. The other point to that is when you get a rate of return on your portfolio, that's a true rate of return. It's a true rate of return. If your portfolio grows by 8%, that money is yours to keep. It's not because you're drawing out fewer dollars over a longer period of time like Social Security is. Again, go back to that example of $100 per year this year and $100 next year or $200 in the future. Not a true rate of return. It's just shifting when you're taking the money. A rate of return on your 401k or IRA or other investments, that's a true rate of return. That is more dollars in your pocket regardless of how long you live. And if you don't spend it, it's something that your future heirs can spend. So at the end of the day, your Social Security strategy should be based upon a comprehensive income plan, a comprehensive retirement plan that helps you understand what do you do with your investments? What do you do with Social Security? What do you do with other income sources, with taxes, with Medicare, with all these things? This should not be construed to mean everyone should collect Social Security early, as much as illustrating a counterpoint that most people don't consider when it comes to their strategy. So there's many other things that will impact this. Things like your investment strategy, your income strategy, your legacy goals, your tax strategy. All of those should be considered before you actually design a Social Security strategy, but it should be really customized and unique to you. Now, if you want to see an actual quantified rate of return that collecting Social Security early might have for you when it looks at the impact on your overall portfolio, be sure to check out this video above where I discuss just that. Once again, I'm James Conole, founder of Root Financial, and if you're interested in seeing how we help our clients at Root Financial get the most out of life with their money, be sure to visit us at www.rootfinancialpartners.com.